WAR-HOC Shannon Beador and Janssen huge lawsuit update. WAR-HOC star Shannon Beador has a huge update regarding the lawsuit brought against her by her ex, Janssen. It has been a big part of season 19, given that his now fiancée, Alexis Bellino, rejoined the cast after a decade. So, what is the current status of the lawsuit, and is it going any further? Keep reading for more details. Shannon Beador and Janssen huge lawsuit update. The entire time Shannon Beador and Janssen were dating, she claimed she paid for everything. Furthermore, she alleged that he did not want to be in the public eye, and the two broke up right before the season 17 reunion. Shannon claimed they rekindled their romance for around 6 months. Yet they kept it quiet and then they ended it, and she was arrested for her DUI. After that, he officially cut ties, and within 2 months he had moved on. John started dating RHOC alum Alexis Bellino, whose husband, Jim, had sued both Shannon and Tamara Judge. This lawsuit cost the ladies hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it was very stressful. Of course, this made for great television, so Bravo brought Alexis back as a friend for season 18. She had reconciled with Tamara and was close friends with Heather Dubrow, so that was a loophole, rather than she was dating Janssen. Then he sued Shannon for $75,000. He claimed she owed him the money for a facelift, but she believed it was a gift. There was a lot of negotiation, and now, the lawsuit has finally been settled. Though the terms have not been disclosed, it is now over. Their settlement conference, set for November 22nd, has now been canceled, and they can officially move on with their lives. Shannon Beador had offered him a settlement, but he declined. It then came out that he had footage of her drunk and nearly running over his daughter. Allegedly, he needed to have an insurance policy, so he kept it. Making nice. There was a final offer from Janssen that Shannon Beador had to pay him back, but she also had to speak kindly of him. It looked like she was going down that road, but nothing was for sure. At the reunion, she maintained she spent tens of thousands at the beginning of their relationship. Alexis Bellino countered that John had done forensic accounting and spent an insane amount. This included a $10,000 necklace, which Shannon denied she got. So what are followers saying now that everything has been settled? Good, I never want to see Janssen and Jesus Jugs on my TV again. I hate him so much, what a waste of everyone's time. So how long now till we get a breakup post about the trashy two? The sun blazed over Newport Beach as Shannon Beador pulled into her driveway, her signature oversized sunglasses shielding her eyes from the Californian glare. She had just returned from a lunch meeting with her legal team, a stack of papers tucked under her arm and a furrow in her brow that spoke volumes. Shannon had faced her share of drama, on and off, the Real Housewives of Orange County, but nothing quite prepared her for the storm that had engulfed her and Janssen. The two had been embroiled in a legal battle that started as a minor dispute, but had now ballooned into a full-fledged lawsuit making headlines across the nation. The lawsuit stemmed from a business deal gone wrong, something Shannon never imagined she'd be dragged into. John, ever the businessman, had partnered with an old college friend to launch a luxury hospitality venture. Shannon had been a silent investor, trusting John's judgment and eager to support his dreams. But as the business struggled, accusations of mismanagement and fraud began to fly, and Shannon found herself entangled in a web of lawsuits, countersuits, and public scrutiny. Shannon's phone buzzed incessantly as she placed her designer handbag on the kitchen counter. Her lawyer, Emily, was on the line, and her voice carried a tone of urgency. "Shannon, we need to talk strategy," Emily said, her no-nonsense demeanor cutting through the pleasantries. "The opposing counsel is pushing for a deposition. They're claiming you had direct involvement in some of the financial decisions." Shannon groaned, sliding into a bar stool. "Emily, you know I barely looked at those documents. I trusted John to handle everything." Emily sighed. I know, Shannon, but the other side is painting a picture of you as a hands-on investor who was fully aware of the alleged financial discrepancies. We need to prove otherwise. Shannon's mind raced as she thought back to the early days of John's venture. She had attended a few meetings, sure, but only to show support. Now, every minor interaction was being twisted into something nefarious. Later that evening, John arrived at Shannon's house, looking equally stressed. His usually confident demeanor had been replaced by an air of exhaustion. "This is getting out of hand," he said, collapsing onto the couch. "My lawyer says they're digging into every email, every text message. They're even subpoenaing my college friend." Shannon poured them both a glass of wine, her hands trembling slightly. "John, I can't believe this is happening. I've been through divorces, public feuds, and everything else you can imagine, but this feels different." John reached for her hand. "We'll get through this, together." But Shannon couldn't help but feel a pang of doubt. Their relationship had already faced challenges, and the stress of the lawsuit was testing them in ways she hadn't anticipated. The next few weeks were a whirlwind of depositions, court filings, and media frenzy. Paparazzi camped outside Shannon's house, hoping to catch a glimpse of her reaction to the latest developments. Meanwhile, the Heartbreak cast couldn't resist weighing in. Tamra Judge, never one to shy away from drama, hinted at the lawsuit during a podcast episode. "I feel bad for Shannon," Tamra said, her voice dripping with Fox concern. "But honestly, this is what happens when you mix business with pleasure." Shannon's blood boiled when she heard the clip. It was one thing to face legal battles. It was another to have her supposed friends use it as fodder for their own narratives. One bright spot amid the chaos was her daughter Sophie, who had returned home from college to support her mom. Sophie's calm presence and wise beyond her years' perspective were a balm to Shannon's frayed nerves. One evening, as they sat on the patio overlooking the ocean, Sophie turned to her mom with a determined look. "Mom, you've been through worse. Remember how everyone doubted you after the divorce? You came out stronger. This lawsuit is just another hurdle. You'll get through it." Shannon smiled, grateful for her daughter's unwavering support. But deep down, she knew this was about more than just surviving. It was about protecting her reputation, her finances, and her relationship with John. As the trial date approached, Shannon and John decided to take a united front. They attended court hearings together, their matching outfits a silent statement of solidarity. The media dubbed them the Newport Power Couple, a title that felt ironic given the circumstances. Inside the courtroom, the atmosphere was tense. The opposing counsel presented damning evidence, including emails that seemed to suggest Shannon had more involvement than she'd admitted. But Emily was relentless in her defense, pointing out inconsistencies and highlighting Shannon's lack of financial expertise. After weeks of testimony, the case finally went to the jury. Shannon and John waited anxiously for the verdict, their lives hanging in the balance. When the foreperson announced the decision, Shannon felt her heart stop. "We find the defendants not guilty of all charges." Relief washed over Shannon as she turned to John, tears streaming down her face. It was over. The nightmare that had consumed their lives for months had finally ended. As they left the courthouse, reporters swarmed them, shouting questions and snapping photos. Shannon paused, taking a deep breath before addressing the crowd. "This has been one of the most challenging experiences of my life," she said, her voice steady despite the emotions threatening to overwhelm her. "But I'm grateful for the support of my family, friends, and legal team, and I'm ready to move forward." Back home, as the sun set over the Pacific, Shannon and John sat on the patio, reflecting on everything they'd been through. The lawsuit had tested their relationship in ways they hadn't anticipated, but it had also brought them closer. "Here's to new beginnings," John said, raising his glass. Shannon clinked her glass against his, a smile spreading across her face. For the first time in months, she felt a sense of peace. The drama might never fully leave her life, but for now, she was ready to embrace the calm after the storm.